Hello, this is A1 Math, and today we're talking about one-step and two-step equations. Thought I'll go over a few of these with you. Let's take a look at our first few examples. Okay, now with working one-step equations, what you want to do is um, solve for the variable. So you want to remove or um, get the variable by itself. So in order to do that, we're going to do the opposite operation. So here we have a positive 3. We want to do the opposite of positive 3. We want to combine something with it so we get 0 plus a, so it'll just be a. So in order to do that, you'll have to subtract 3 on both sides. Once you do that, you'll have 14 minus 3, and that's going to give you 11. And again, the 3's will cancel out here or add to equal 0. So that'll be a is equal to 11. Simple one-step equation. Now over here on number 2, we've got b minus 1. We're going to do the opposite. So the opposite of minus 1 is to add 1. So we're going to add 1 on both sides. And in doing so, we'll have negative 10 plus 1, which will be negative 9. And you got b is equal to negative 9. Okay, now that's addition and subtraction. Let's take a look at division and multiplication. So with division and multiplication, you don't want to get 0. You want to get 1. So you want to multiply, divide by a number that's going to give you 1. So in this instance here, I've got negative 20 times k. So to get 1 times k, I will have to divide the whole thing by negative 20. In doing so, I have to do it on both sides. So over here, negative divided by a negative is a positive. 20 divided by 20 is 1. 1 times k will just give me k. And on my right side, I have k is equal to 17. Negative divided by negative is positive, and 340 divided by 20 is 17. Okay, now that's 20 times k. Over here, we've got b divided by 3. So the opposite of division is multiplication. So we're going to multiply by 3 on both sides. Now here, since we're multiplying by 3 on both sides, I put 3 over 1 because I had a fraction here. And over here on the right side, I just multiplied times 3. And even though this is multiplication instead of division, you still end up getting that number over itself. So you have 3 times b, which is 3b, and 1 times 3, which is 3. And your 3's would cancel out, leaving you with just b on the left side. But on the right side, you have negative 10 times 3, which will get you negative 30. So b is equal to negative 30. Okay, let's take a look at another example here. This one we have fractions on both sides, but still the same step. What you want to do is divide. Since we have x divided by 20, we want to multiply by 20 on both sides. And I made both of these fractions here. Okay, now again on our left side, the 20 is going to be over 20, so that's going to cancel out our 20s and leave us with just x. Now on the right side, I could do negative 19 times 20 to get me negative 380, and 20 times 1, which is 20. Then just divide by 20, and that's going to get me negative 19. Another way to look at that exact same problem is to multiply by 20 on both sides, just like we did, but realize that the 20s cancel out here, well, they would cancel out over here on the right side as well. So we cancel out 20s, that's going to leave us with negative 19 as well. So it saves us a little multiplication here. Okay. Now, those are 5 examples of one-step equations. You could pause the video, take a look back at them, and make sure you got those. You have to have that down before we do what we're about to do next. Okay, now here we've got multi-step or two-step equations here. And you could do similar things here as you do with others, but you just got to do the opposite operation. And you got to work away from the variable and work your way to the variable. So on this one, I've got negative 7 times 5 plus x. negative 7 times 5 plus x. So what I'm going to do here is, since it's multiplication, I'm going to do the opposite operation, which is divide by negative 7. And when I divide by negative 7, that's going to cancel out. And I got to divide by negative 7 on the right side too. So that's going to give me 5 plus x is equal to negative 6. Now it's really similar to the problems we did before. We just go do the one-step equation. We're going to do the opposite of positive 5 and make that negative 5. And that's going to turn to 0 on my left side, but give me just x on my right side. Or just x on the left side. But on my right side, I have negative 6 and negative 5, which is negative 11. Okay. Now, another way to do that is we could divide at first, but a lot of people may be more familiar with the distributive property. So to distribute, we would have to take that negative 7 and multiply it times the 5 and the x first. And you can still do the same thing. So let's take a look here. We'll go distribute. Negative 7 times 5 is negative 35. And negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Okay, we're going to work away from the variable and work our way to it. So we got to do something with this negative 5 first. So we're going to add 35 on both sides. All right, next we're going to drop down our negative 7x. And when we combine the 42 with 35, we get 77. Now we've got the x multiplied times 7, so we do the opposite operation, which is to divide by negative 7. And in doing so, x is equal to negative 11. Okay. Now let's take a look at 18 here. Now 18 is being divided first. So you're going to do the opposite operation. You're going to multiply. And you got to treat this top part here like parentheses. So you're going to work outside of the parentheses first and then work your way to the v. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply by 11 on both sides. Now I have 11 over 1 times negative 2 times 11, or equal to negative 2 times 11. So we're just going to multiply by 11 on both sides. The 11s will cancel out. And now that this is gone, I can just bring my negative 5 plus v down and multiply my negative 2 times 11. All right, now I'm going to add 5 on both sides. Once I do that, I have a negative 22 plus 5. I'm going to cancel out my 5s here and bring down my v. And negative 22 plus 5 would be negative 17. Okay, let's look at a couple more examples. Now here, on this one, on the previous one, we had this. Sorry about that. Again, here we had the parentheses here as far as our multiplication with the negative 5 plus v. Here, what we want to do is work away from the variable, which is being divided by 10, and deal with the negative 5 first. So we're going to do the opposite operation and add 5 on both sides. Once we do, now we could drop down the n over 10 and set it equal to negative 4 plus 5, which is positive 1. Now the next thing we want to do is go ahead and multiply 10 on both sides. And that's going to get us n is equal to 10. Okay, let's take a look at our last example here. We're going to multiply by 9 on both sides. The 9s will cancel out. I have 9 times negative 2, which is negative 18. Drop down to m minus 10. Then we add 10 on both sides. and that's going to get us -8 is equal to m, or m equals -8. Now again, this has been one-step and two-step equations. Keep in mind what you want to do is do the opposite operation, and it's going to require a lot of practice in order to make sure you master the skill. And again, thank you for checking out A1 Math.